second topic of today's session, writing research proposal for funding agencies or granting agencies. So some of you have already completed your PhD program. You must have done some good research, published good research papers. You have a bent of analytical mind. You want to pursue research in your colleges and institutions. For them, there are a lot of opportunities for you to write research proposal, a minor research proposal or a major research proposal to a funding agencies, whether it is humanities and in science subjects. You can submit wonderful research project for funding. So this will help you to continue your research, though you are in colleges and universities. In addition to teaching, you can carry out a research, you can publish a paper, you can guide the students, and a lot of other benefits are there. If you are candidate with a research bent of mind, there is a lot of scope for you to continue your research, so that you will have global recognition, international recognition, and societal recognition. In your peer group, you have a distinguished position. So that's why you need to continue research, and if there are funding agencies willing to provide you the grant to carry out your research, how to write a research proposal, small research proposal.
Okay, you need to make them prepare.
Okay, please welcome back to the second topic. What is the research proposal? So in the first session, we have discussed how to identify the research topic for PhD program. If you are interested to do PhD program, how to select a pertinent research topic, how to fine tune it, how to conduct a research. And of course, your research supervisor will be there in every step to guide you to, conduct the research, collect the data, analyze the data, write the, research report, research thesis. He will also help you to publish the papers. He will also help you to, publish the papers. So he will be a motivational spirit. At every step, he will guide you. So once you have completed the research degree, PhD degree, now you are independent. You want to do independent research. You want to get the money. You want to get the fund for research, your own research topic. So in the area of PhD, where you have completed your research field or published papers, in the same area you can continue, or you can also write a altogether new research proposal for the funding agency in the relevant area. So research proposal is nothing but it is your own plan of research. For example, next 5 years, next 10 years, next 20 years, I would like to continue my research field in this particular field. So therefore, you are proposing that particular research proposal to a funding agency. Therefore, this research proposal is nothing but your plan of research for the next 5 years or 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, something like that. It reveals about you are going to do, what you are going to do, how you are going to plan your research, how you are going to conduct the research, what are the procedures that you are going to adapt, how you conduct the research, what is the outcome of the research. So it will also guide you as well as your supervisor that how to write an academic piece of writing, and it also show your strength of your proposed research work that you are planning to do for the next 5 years, 10 years. That is what we call research proposal. Research proposal is nothing but it is a blueprint of it is nothing but a blueprint. How we have a blueprint for building construction. Similarly, we need to have a blueprint for our own research. So research proposal is nothing but a blueprint for our next 5 years research. So therefore, writing a research proposal is both science as well as an art. So therefore, a good research proposal is based on scientific facts. I already told you, you have to do a lot of review of literature, fine tuning of the research review that will help you to come out with a clear research topic. That is problem area. This is the problem which is confronting the society. This is the problem which is confronting agriculture. This is the problem which is confronting the commerce. This is the problem which is confronting trading. Whatever may be the area of interest in which you are interested, the topic that you select, it is based on the preliminary review of literature that you have done, and it will tell you that this is the problem. No one has worked on this, and no one has come out with a solution. So that problem should be selected. So writing a formal research proposal should be started by time one has decided on the topic for the study. So these are the major components of a research problem. So how we have, in the previous session, we have discussed essential steps, certain essential steps to conduct research. Similarly, in the research proposal, there are certain steps, important components. So they are the important components of the research. So one includes the title. So I told you, we have discussed, there should be a small abstract about 1 page abstract about the problem that you are confronting, how to solve this particular problem and outcome of the problem. All these things will be there in a abstract. Then objectives with a justification. What are the main objectives? What are the important components that you are going to investigate in first year, second year, third year, fourth year, or fifth year? If you have a 5 objectives, each year you can discover, you can conduct experiment on one particular objective and you can solve that. Okay. So there will be a introduction, a brief introduction to the topic. So what made you to choose this particular topic? Background information you need to write about, and how this proposal has originated. What made you to, come out with this research topic? Okay. Origin of the proposal, how you are perceived this idea, how you got this idea. I must do research on this. Okay. So that is what we call origin of proposal. Then, as we have discussed in the previous session, review of literature, that is the basis for choosing the topic. So that should be, discussed both in terms of national and international status. What work has been done in India and what type of work has already been at the international level. All those things need to be discussed, written in brief. In addition to that, you need to have a methodology, how you carry out the research. What are the materials and methods that you use? What are the methodology that you apply? How many samples, how many villages, how many cities, how many firms that you are going to choose? How you conduct the research? Okay. So all these things should be explained in the methodology part. Then time work. Every 6 months, what are the important components you investigate? Time frame and work schedule chart. Every year, every 6 months, every 12 months, every 1.5 year, 2 years, 3.5 year, okay, something like that. Okay, you need to give these are the elements I'm going to investigate in a 6 monthly basis. Then to investigate this, you are a teacher. You cannot conduct the research. You have already done that piece of work, but now you need an assistance. Who are the people who are going to assist? Personnel needed. You would like to appoint a junior research fellow or a project assistant. Okay. What type of people you need to carry out the research? Okay. So because writing the research proposal, comes only after the, award of PhD degree to you. Now you are a PhD degree, holder. You are a teacher. You are a professor. Now you want to pursue research. Therefore, you have a lot of teaching assignment in the colleges and universities. You cannot sit and work. Therefore, you need a people. So who are qualified enough to continue research so that they can also be awarded PhD later. So those personnel can be registered. Okay. So in the form of a project assistant or a junior research fellow, senior research fellow, research associate, something like that. How many people are required? So that you need to mention in your proposal. Okay. How many people are, how many JRF, how many project assistant, whether non-teaching staff is required. Okay. Office staff is required. So all those things should be included in your project proposal. Then what are the facilities already available in your institution that needs to be listed? Okay. So to carry out a research in your area of field, whether it is a science, arts, humanities, whatever may be, what are the facilities that are available? Okay. What are the facilities that you needed? Okay. From the project grant. Okay. Any equipment, any computer, any other things that you need. Okay. All those things can be included in the research proposal. Then by keeping personnel and facilities needed, you need to have a budget. How much grant you need? What purpose you are going to use this particular grant? Okay. Budget in terms of equipments, budget in terms of computers, budget in terms of manpower, JRF, SRF, okay, for 3 years. All those things you need to work out and come out with a clear budget with a justification. Justification is very, very important. Okay. So that should be included in your research proposal. Finally, there should be a declaration by PI, principal investigator. You as a teacher in the college, the funding agency will treat you as a principal investigator. You are the person in charge of this project, principal investigator. You can also include from neighboring colleges and institutions as co-PI if you wish. Okay. PI and co-PI both can be there, or only PI can be included. Finally, your college and head of the institution has to endorse, should give a permission stating that, okay, the following teacher will be provided facilities in our college and universities. He will be given free, complete freedom to carry out this research work in the college and university. Either principal or the registrar of the universities or the CEO of that institute, they should endorsement, they should give an endorsement. So these are all the important components of a research proposal. You need to keep all these things ready and then you go for submitting a research proposal. Let us discuss one by one. So most important, once you have decided about the title, that this is the title of the research proposal. Research title means this is the research problem that you are confronting in the society, okay, in a organization. So whatever may be the research problem, for that you need to have a objectives, okay. These objectives need to be investigated. This is a very important and pivotal section, and everything else in the study is centered around these objectives. So every proposal will have 3 to 4 or maximum 5 objectives will be there. Depends on the, the importance of the research topic. You can have 2 or 3 or 4 objectives. These objectives stated should be specific, very clear, achievable at the end of the project period. These objectives should be achievable and measurable. Too many objectives should be avoided. You cannot keep 5, 10 objectives because you will not be able to achieve all these 10 objectives. That is why preferably 1 to 4 objectives in a research proposal is preferable. Even just one clearly stated relevant objective is good enough for a research proposal. Okay, that you can think about that. If there is more than one objective, the objectives can be presented in the appropriate order of importance. First one is most important, second one is lesser important, the third one is still lesser importance. Something like that you can write. as I mentioned in the beginning, you need to have a background information about that particular research, what work has been done already. Okay. So introduction and review of literature, both can be clubbed together sometime, or you can have a one-page introduction followed by review of literature. Okay. So you can have separate also. So introduction is all about the problem proposed to be studied is introduced in this section. Okay, how you introduce your topic in the research for PhD program. Similarly, the problem proposed to be studied, what is that particular problem that you are going to address, that has to be introduced. It should help the agency to acquaint the fellow who read, the committee that will read your proposal should be able to understand the proposed problem. So it should be very short, maybe 1 or 2 pages. Note down this, just 1 or 2 pages. Introduction should be 1 or 2 pages. The problem should be stated in such a way that it is importance and relevance is realized by anyone who reads it. So you should write an introduction in such a way that within 1 or 2 pages, anybody who reads your research proposal should be in a position to understand the importance of the problem, relevance of the problem, why it is relevant today, why it is urgently investigated. Okay. Once you investigate, this is the outcome that will solve this particular problem in this particular area, in this particular field. All these things needs to be stated in this introduction. As I mentioned, why you got this problem, how did you get this proposal, whether it is your own thinking, okay, how did you taken, who has helped you to get this proposal. The term origin of the proposal, in many scientific proposal, this topic will be there. Origin of the proposal generally refers to the reasons, context and circumstances that lead to the creation of the problem. Why, how all of a sudden it has come to your mind, yes, I should investigate this particular problem. This is a major research problem. How did you get that? What was the circumstances made you to think about this research problem? That you can write clearly in your proposal. So in an academic institute, it could refer to the theoretical framework, prior studies. Suppose if you have already done PhD work, okay, you have 2-3 research papers. Based on those 3 research papers, what you could not do in your PhD thesis, that future part of the work can be a research proposal. Okay, because you have done the research, you know that this particular work not been completed. Okay, I have left it. Okay, I want to complete for my future studies. So therefore, the prior, what are the prior studies that has helped you to identify the research gap in the knowledge that necessitated the proposal of a new study or a research project. So that is very, very important. So understanding the origin of the proposal helps clearly its purpose and the context in which it was developed. So this is very, very important. Usually half a page or 1 page information should be there when it comes to origin of the proposal. In addition to this, research proposal have a background information. Background information is all about review of literature. In the last 5-10 years, usually 5 years, okay, what work has been done, okay, in that which is related to your topic. What kind of work has been done nationally and internationally. Okay, under 2 headlines, you have to discuss. This section reflects extensive review of literature done by the investigator. After you have done a lot of research review, that research review revealed that this work no one has investigated. This is a very important and relevant problem. Okay, so while writing this particular background information, you have to tell about lacunae that exist. That means the loopholes that are exist in the current research problem, current research area. Just quoting the literature verbatim will not serve the purpose. Therefore, you need to explain clearly, this is the problem, nobody has investigated, and if I investigate, this is how I am going to solve this particular problem. So it is important to make it a coherent, relevant, and easily readable knowledge. So you know that lot of literature has already accumulated. You need to study very well, and you need to assimilate, and you need to come out with a pertinent data that will support your view, you support your idea to conduct a research on this area. It helps the investigator to gain good knowledge in that field of inquiry or field of study. It also helps the investigator to have an insight, knowledge in that field, and different methodologies that have been adopted by different investigator. Because research investigator, research review will also tell you what are the different methodologies that have been adopted to collect the research data. Okay, it should be written under two sub-headlines. One is national importance and international importance. Background information or review of literature should be written under national and international importance. That means what work has been done in India, what work has been done in abroad. All those things should be written. Then once it is over, the next important component of research proposal will be work plan. So in a research proposal, we call it as a work plan or research methodology. So it is an experimental plan, how you carry out a research. Okay, if the proposal is approved, if the grant is given, how you carry out the research. Next 6 months, what you are going to do. Next 12 months, what you are going to do. 2 years, 3 years. At the end of third year, what is the outcome of the research? All these things should be narrated sufficiently so that the reader who reads your proposal should be convinced that yes, research methodology is very well written, and methods that have been used to investigate the research problem is appropriate, suitable references have been cited. You should be convinced. Okay, so in that context, research methodology or work plan component in a research proposal is very, very important. Research methodology is a way to systematically solve the research problem. Okay, how you address this particular problem, understood as a science of studying how research is done scientifically. It is necessary for the researcher to know not only research method, techniques, but also methodology part. How methodology is all introduced. Researchers not only need to know how to develop certain indices, tests, and how to calculate mean, mode, median, and standard deviation. So statistical methods, what are the different statistical methods that you are going to apply for the data that you generate in the research. It is also essential to discuss procedures clearly and completely with considerable amount of details. So this is what is required, very essential when it comes to work plan or research methodology. Now, the experimental design, study or experimental design should also be included, particularly in science. Okay, a scientific specific plan, protocol for conducting the study, which allows the investigator to translate the conceptual hypothesis into an operational one. I told you experimental design is nothing but blueprint of your research proposal, research idea. So therefore, the study design should be clearly stated. The study design should be used, okay, appropriate for achieving objectives of the study. If you have a 5 objective, you should have a 5 experimental plan. So for each objective, how you investigate, how you carry out research work, okay, that should be highlighted in the work plan or the experimental design. So study design, that includes study population. As I told you, the population varies from subject to subject. In botany, it varies. Zoology, it varies. In microbiology, it varies. In botany, for example, it may be refers to 10 plants. In animals, maybe 100 animal species. In microorganism, maybe 1,000 cells. Okay. So sampling size. Okay. How many samples you are going to investigate? Okay. So for statistical analysis, so 10 sample, 20 sample, more number of the sampling. So, reduce the sampling error. So therefore, you need to have a large number of sampling size. Then you need to have what are the instrumentations, instruments that you use to carry out the experiments. So that needs to be highlighted. Specific procedures, if any, that you have developed or you are planning to introduce specific procedure, methodologies, a new procedure that that has been created by you, that also should be highlighted. And finally, what kind of statistical analytical method that you are going to apply for the data that you generate, how you analyze, how you, come out with a, refined data that will help you to explain the relevance of your research findings. It is important to describe which should be the study population. This I have already told you. And the framework or the work schedule. This is very, very important. I told you, usually project is sanctioned for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years. Usually, maximum, it will be given for a 3 years. If extension is required, you can write, for an extension, another 6 months or 1 year, the project will be extended, including the, fund will also be given. The proposal should include sequence of tasks to be performed. First, as I told you, in first 6 months, what kind of work you do. In another 12 months period, what is that you are going to conduct experiment. So 1.5 years, 2 years, 2.5 years. So in a 6 monthly framework, you have to explain, these are the objective I am going to fulfill. So that, it is a table. It is nothing but a flow chart, or the other type of diagrams are often, given here, highlighting these many, these are the objective. This is the time required to complete these objectives. So time work and work schedule is very, very important, and it is an important component of a research proposal. As I mentioned, facilities available with institute, that should be mentioned. So because based on this, if facilities are not available, it becomes very difficult for the principal investigator to carry out a research. Therefore, what are the facilities that are already available in the college or in a university institute department? The proposal should also include the important facilities available in the host institute, namely including electricity, computers, laboratories, so office staff, special equipments, okay, all these things which are already available. And at the same time, we should also, explain what kind of equipments, what kind of facilities you expect from the funding agency. That also should be included. Apart from that, to carry out a research work, being a principal investigator, you cannot conduct the experiment. You need an assistant. You need a project assistant, PA, or junior research fellow, JRF, or senior research fellow, SRF, or research associate, RA. So these are all the project, personnel, you can ask for it. In addition to that, you can also ask for non-teaching staff, okay, to on a consolidated pay band. Okay, so proposal should include who are all the primary investigators and co-investigators, their qualification, research experience, etc. So sometimes you also attach a biodata of yours and also the co-investigators. Suppose if you have taken a co-investigator from some other institute, so that name and address and brief biodata and his research experience should be included. So biodata of the principal investigators, including best research publication, what is that papers that he has published, okay, in the international journal or peer-reviewed journals, okay. So are those papers which formed the basis for developing this current research proposal should also be included. The proposal may also include major projects which have already taken by the investigator. Suppose you have already completed 2-3 research projects by different funding agencies that you have successfully completed. So those research proposals that you have successfully completed should also be included as projects completed by the principal investigators. budget. This is a very important component of a research proposal, because funding, you are writing the proposal for budget funding. So fund has to be given by the funding agencies. So budget is nothing but this translate project activities into monetary terms. That means this is the amount of money I require for personnel, for chemicals, for equipment, for contingency, for travel, for publications, for contingency, something like that. You need to categorize them into in different heads with a justification. You have to justify. This is the why. If you are asking for a 2 lakh rupees amount for 3 years, you should justify why you need 2 lakh rupees for 2 years. Okay, it is a state budget is nothing but a statement of how much money will be required to accomplish objectives of the research proposal. Objectives of the research proposal. That is very important. So usually budget components are written under two headlines. One is recurring budget, the other one is non-recurring budgets. So two headlines will be there. So while writing the proposal, you should have a recurring and non-recurring. Let us discuss what is recurring and what is non-recurring. Recurring means the staff. Suppose a research associate, assistant, or JRF, or project assistant, all these staffs come under recurring head, staff and salary. So these are the research staff. If you require 2 JRFs, you should, 2 JRFs into per month. This is the amount it is required, including HRA, and per year this much into 3 years. This is the amount I required. And even for chemicals and reagent in scientific proposal, you need lot of chemicals. Okay, so how much you need for first year, second year, third year, that has to be calculated. And sometimes in humanities, lot of travel. For example, if you are working on archaeology or ancient history, you need to visit lot of temples, monuments. You need to travel a lot. Field work is required. In case of humanities, you need to, do a lot of field work. Okay, so travel is required. So how much travel grant you need? First year this much, second year this much, third year this much. Total is this much. Okay. In addition to that, you also require a lot of contingency grant, paper, pen, pencil, and other miscellaneous. Okay. All these can be 50,000 or 1 lakh rupees. That also year wise you can include. Apart from that, you can also hire a consultant for your research, because expert consultant sometimes required. So suppose if you are working on ancient history, archaeology expert, you need to consult. So consultancy charges per year this much. Okay, for 3 years this much consultancy charges we need. Okay, so that you can also include. In addition to that, funding agency will also provide you 10% institutional heads overhead. We can include 10% overhead charges. Okay, if it is 10 lakh is you are claiming under recurring at 10%, you can also add. Okay, 10% of 10 lakh. Okay, you can add and include in the budget. In addition to that, funding agency will also give you one-time budget. It is what we call a non-recurring. You have to use in the first year for purchasing the equipment. Okay, sometime in scientific project, it is a major important component. Okay, so you can identify the list of equipments. Okay, and the companies who are manufacturing and selling the equipment, and if it is imported one, that also you should tell. Okay, the equipment needs to be imported. Okay, foreign exchange component needs to be included. So you create a budget under these headline, recurring and non-recurring, and write the total amount of budget required to investigate this research proposal. So once you have a budget, then what is the outcome of the research? Funding agency definitely look into this component. Outcome, what is the outcome of research? What is the important major breakthroughs that you are going to achieve at the end of the research period? So whether the research proposal will have institutional and individual recognition. whether research proposal, research findings will help the institution to recognize internationally or nationally or individually get recognition by doing that research, that has to be highlighted. What is the monetary benefits? Sometime if you discover a drug, okay, so drug can be patented. Once you patent that, you will have a, firms will come forward to buy your patent. They make a lot of money. When the money is made by companies, they also give you a lot of royalty. Okay, that royalty 10%, 20%. Okay, money you will get it. Okay, that monetary benefits. Okay, so that is also should be highlighted. If the research proposal is having monetary benefits, then societal benefit, how the society is going to be benefited by your research proposal. Suppose I want to develop a vaccine against a particular disease. Okay, what is the how society benefit, how humanity will be benefited? That needs to be highlighted. Societal benefits, advancement of the knowledge in most of the basic research. Not many institutional recognition, no monetary benefit, no societal benefit, but it will certainly help in advancement of the knowledge in that particular discipline, science of study, okay, or it is in a literature, anything. Okay. So this is also very important. That needs to be highlighted when it comes to outcome of the research. So once you have all these components ready, you need to declare yourself that this is the proposal, original proposal submitted by me for the award of, research grant to investigate these particular objectives. I will carry out this research work at this institute with full commitment and passion. Okay, research outcome will be published in, peer-reviewed journals, and funding agency will be duly acknowledged in all the publications comes out from this particular project. So something like that, the project funding agency will have a format that using that format, you have to declare both principal investigator and co-principal investigator both should declare that declaration is very, very important. Once you have this, complete project is ready, you can forward this particular proposal through head of the institute, head of the college. So head of the college means principal. Principal has to endorse this, your proposal, and should send it to the funding agency. If you are working in a university system, the registrar of the administrator of the university, usually the registrar will give you a letter with a with his university letterhead stating that principal investigator is a permanent employee of this particular university. He will be provided all the facilities in our research department. He will be, all given complete freedom to carry out research work. Something that endorsement is also necessary. Okay, and the head of the institute also, give a certificate stating that the utilization certificate, at the end of the each year, how much money has been used, how much money is left out. The statement has to be given. We call it as a statement of expenditure and utilization certificate that should submitted to the funding agency. So on that context also, the head of the institute should also make a statement in the endorsement letter, and it should be duly signed and sealed by the university or the colleges. So the proposal is submitted to the funding agency. Funding agency will verify that particular proposal. So for the submission of the proposal, now both physical mode is also there, online mode is also there. Now in most of the scientific proposal, online platforms are available. You need to prepare a complete proposal, including the endorsement of the institute separately, and you have to log into the respective funding agency website by creating a user ID and password. You need to have your own user ID and password, and then upload all the components of a research proposal that you have prepared. Soft copy of the proposal need to be uploaded to the funding agency, and finally submit the proposal. So there will be a submit button. You need to submit that. So you will get a acknowledgement stating that your proposal has been submitted to the funding agency. Okay, funding agency will let you know the acceptance of the proposal or rejection of the proposal. Once you do that, so you will receive an email stating that your proposal has been accepted. You need to give a presentation by online or offline mode on this particular date and time. You will be given 10 minutes time to give a proposal about physical presenting the proposal, or sometime you will be asked to give a presentation in the online mode also. Sometime without both online or offload, sometime if the project proposal is worth investigating, they will accept because expert team, peer team is constituted by the funding agency. Usually 2 professors in the respective field or subject expert or scientist in that particular field, they will study your proposal and send the recommendation to the funding agency. Based on the funding, these experts' advice or recommendation, your project proposal will be accepted or rejected, or sometime they will ask you to modify the proposal, or they may ask you to reduce the budget sometime, because funding agency, they have certain limits. They cannot grant you more than 10 lakhs, more than 20 lakhs. There will be limitations. Of course, there are projects more than 1 crore, more than 3 crore projects will also be there. Okay, so that will goes to different committees, but screening committees, and different screening committee evaluate the proposal based on the budget amount. So if the proposal is within the budget limitations, so proposal is accepted and they will give you acceptance letter or the award letter. So you will get an award letter. Okay. So based on the award letter, they will also attach you the guidelines for implementing the project. So there will be a detailed guidelines how to implement the project. You are abide once the project proposal is accepted. You are abide by the rules and regulations of the funding agency. You cannot misuse the project for the purpose for which the fund has been released. You need to utilize that fund only for that purpose. You cannot misappropriate. You cannot reallocate. Okay. So therefore, while preparing the budget, care should be given. Okay, what you should, how a project budget should have. So important component, you should not miss it. So based on that, the project guidelines, the project is implemented. It can be implemented in your own college. And every year, you need to submit the progress report along with statement of expenditure and utilization certificate. You can ask for next year budget. Okay, within 3 months, based on your statement of expenditure and the utilization certificate, they will release you the remaining grant. So the grant can be utilized again second year. Second, in the end of the second year, by March 31st, you need to submit statement of expenditure and utilization certificate again. So once you do that, in the third year, grant will be released. So by the end of the third year, the project proposal, complete, the summary of the project proposal, unspent balance, if money is left out, that you need to send it back to the funding agency. So these are all the responsibilities. Suppose if you publish a paper during that particular period, the funding agency, the name of the funding agency should be acknowledged. It is a very important. This is one of the important, it will be there in the guidelines. You should not omit at any cost. So funding agency name should be included. In addition to that, who are all the people who helped you to implement this project should also be acknowledged in the papers or the monograph or books that you publish. So this is in brief about the how to write a proposal and the important components of the proposal and what you need to do when you get the project. So let us take another few minutes just to understand what are the funding agencies that are available who provide you the grant for doing the research. So far, for humanities, University Grant Commission was giving lot of funds for college teachers and also university teachers in the form of minor projects and also major projects. So University Grant Commission was, but recently University Grant Commission has stopped after COVID. I don't know the reason, but now they said that they have introduced a National Education Policy 2020. The Higher Education Council is going to take over, and again the Higher Education Council, Funding Council, will fund the college teachers and university teachers for research proposal. So that was there. Let us see how it will unfold. In addition to University Grant Commission, Indian Council for Social Science Research, ICSSR, will also fund a lot of research projects. You can, it is in New Delhi. You can, both the funding agencies are in New Delhi. You can write to them. You can visit their website and also find out the thrust areas of research. What are the areas the funding agencies have identified thrust areas? Your proposal should fall into those thrust, fit into those thrust areas. Then only the research project will be accepted. So when it comes to science, we have Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR. We have Department of Biotechnology, Defense Research and Development, DRDO. Okay. And we have Indian Council of Agriculture Research, ICR, Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, AERB, Aeronautics Research and Development Board, Research Nuclear Sciences, BRNS, okay, Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, okay. So these institute provide a lot of research fund for scientific research proposal. Department of Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology, they have a specific areas of research, okay. So there are some core areas of research and also applied areas of research. You should identify whether your research topic, research proposal comes under basic research or pure research, or it is applied research, okay, or revolutionary research, something like that. They have sometime they call for a research proposal. At that time, you need to apply for research proposal, get ready with the research proposal, submit the research proposal, present them, and get the research grant from the funding agencies. In addition to that, we have American Academy in Rome, Association of Commonwealth Universities, Australian Bicentennial Scholarship, and British Institute of Eastern Africa, British Institute of Canaan Foundation Fellowship, Commonwealth Foundation. Okay, so these are the other agencies that are available. So you can look into that. There are very specific areas of research. They provide research funds, Fulbright Commission. We have Lady Tata Memorial Trust in Mumbai. They have a specific medical research purpose. Okay. So these are the important Indian research funding agencies that I have already mentioned, and Indian Council of Medical Research and their websites, CSR, Indian Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, DBT, Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, and Department of Ocean Development, Defense Research, DRDO, and DST, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, Ministry of Environment and Forest, Government of India. We have Indian Council of Agriculture Research on a specific areas, okay, the Indian Council of Social Research, and we have Indian Space Research Organization, Department of Space, Government of India, and Science and Engineering Research Council, SCRRC, and we have UGC, I have already mentioned, and many other international organizations also fund you a lot of research proposal. It all depends on the quality of the research proposal that you are going to submit to the funding agency. So based on that, the funding agencies will screen your proposals, particularly by appointing a screening committee. Screening committee consists of 2-member, 3-member, or 5-member, depending on the amount or budget that you have asked for it. And based on that, recommendations of the screening committee, your research proposal is awarded. Once you award, the funding agency award that proposal, you need to investigate based on the guidelines given by the funding agency. You are abide by the rules and regulations of the funding agency. You should utilize the grant for the purpose for which it was sanctioned.